Hi everyone, am I visible and audible? Yes, am I visible and audible? Please confirm. Good morning. Yes, so today, yesterday I saw you were asking for the marked NCRT. You will get it today. Today we will complete marking the NCRT. After this, you will get the NCRT. So today in the first part of the class, I will mark NCRT in the first two chapters, India and its location. Then I have to mark the topic of Indian physiography. Then I'll take up drainage, and for drainage I will give you a overview on how to study, and we will give you very good maps, and I'll mark the most important lines in the NCRT also, and we will complete this particular part of Indian world physiography. And after that there will be only one class of geography where I will take up and I will discuss about atmosphere, right? So tomorrow we will conclude geography completely in Astra series, right? In the regular GS 1.0 there is a lot yet that has to be discussed, but I am doing this Astra based on the most important topics and weightage of 2025 papers, right? So let's get started. The first chapter that we are looking at is India and its location, and this is from class 11 NCRT, that is India physical environment. In this, if you see properly, first thing that you have is basically, just a minute, 6 degree 45 minutes north is our southern latitude, 3214 kilometers, 2933 kilometers. This part, this is important. Then this box is extremely important. 82.5 degrees is the standard meridian of India, and Indian standard time is 5.5 hours ahead of Greenwich meridian time. This line is also important, and there are certain countries with multiple zones. For example, United States of America has got 7 time zones. This part is also important, right? Then latitudinal factors etc. will influence the landform, climate, soil types and vegetations in the country. This line is also important. They can ask you this line, right? The next line is the whole story of the 82.5 degree. I've shown you the map where I've asked you through what states 82.5 passes by. So this paragraph is that you just give a single read to this paragraph, and this summary is there in this particular box. This is important. Then this map, if you notice, again the same thing, Tropic of Cancer line, the states through which it passes by. This map is important. Good number of questions can be asked from this map. First is countries with the states with international boundary. This they can ask you. Coastal states they can ask you, and they can also ask you landlocked states. I hope they don't ask questions such as capitals etc. Then they can ask you, this is Konkan coast, right? Then this is Malabar coast. They can ask you the names of coast names, they can ask you. Then they can ask you questions on 8-degree channel. Then there is a 9-degree channel. 8-degree channel separates Lakshadweep and Maldives, right? Minicoy and Maldives. So they can ask you questions on 8-degree channel, 9-degree channel, 10-degree channel they can ask you, and they can also ask you questions on islands. This part is important. Then this part talks about the strategic location of India. That's okay, we will discuss about it when we are talking about anyways we can talk about it when we are discussing our international relations based questions that they have asked. So next is the size of India. In size of India part, this part explains why India is called as a subcontinent, and in this Marusthali, this word is important. Marusthali is the sand desert that is there. Marusthali word they can ask you, where is Marusthali etc. Then if you see Khyber Pass, Bolan Pass, Shipkila Pass, Nathula Pass, Bomdila Pass, for all passes they can ask you first which state, second which Himalayan range. These are the two possible questions that are there. Notes is already posted to you in the yesterday's slides part. Facts it is there. I am showing you the NCRTs. I am telling you the most important passes. the passes that you must remember. There is one more table in the next chapter also, I will show you. Okay, next is Kashmir to Kanyakumari, this is all fine. Next is the coastline of 6,100 kilometers in the mainland, 7,517 kilometers in the island group. Please be very careful here. You might make a costly mistake in this question. When you are calculating the coastline of mainland India, that is starting from the coast of Gujarat till India, till West Bengal, this part of the coastline, this is around 6,100 kilometers, and the entire coastline, the whole coastline including the island groups, that is 7,517. So please be careful at that particular part. Don't get confused. Don't mark the wrong number. Please be very clear in it. Now the next thing is about Gulf of Mannar, Pak Strait. Sri Lanka is separated from India by Gulf of Mannar and Pak Strait. This they can ask you. Then what is Gulf and what is a strait? As far as straits are concerned, I am expecting question on straits, because you know Strait of Hormuz is in news a lot. Now what is a Gulf and what is a strait? See, if you see India's map, for that matter, okay, consider that this is India's map, and then this is extended like this, then you have Sri Lanka like this. So this water body that is there, so water body that get carves into the landmass, such water body you call this as a gulf. Whereas between two land masses, if between two land masses, if it is going to act as a choke point, you call this as a strait. So in India, in our exam point of view, there are certain gulfs that they can ask you. One, they can ask you Gulf of Mannar. Second, they can ask you Gulf of Kutch. They can ask you Pak Bay, right? They can also ask you Pak Strait. And in India Sri Lanka perspective, they can ask you about Kachativu Island. This is an island that is disputed between India and Sri Lanka, right? Indian Prime Minister has freely given this island to Sri Lanka, and because of which we are facing a lot of problem today. This part. And in straits, they can ask you question on Strait of Hormuz, Strait of Malacca, Strait of Bab al-Mandeb, and along with that, in 2025 there was one question on Chabahar port. There was one question that was on Chabahar port. I am expecting in 2026, including Chabahar port, they might ask you one more question on Fujairah port. I'll show you the port and I'll explain why this particular port is important, why the question can be asked. Just give me 1 minute. Let me switch to Chrome so that I will open what is Fujairah port and I'll explain the problem. These are the maps that we will give you today. Just a minute. So this was actually in news yesterday. Alright, so just a minute. On map. Alright. I hope the map is there. What happened to the image? Arey, I opened this only for image, na? Where is the image? Okay, I'll pick up some other image or open image in a new tab. Oh, okay, nice. Alright, so this is the port that I'm talking about. Just give me a minute. Alright, yeah. So this is the port that I'm talking about, and I am expecting that there would be a question on Fujairah port. See, a couple of days ago, if you have noticed, a country named UAE came out of an organization called as OPEC or OPEC. Okay, OPEC refers to Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Basically, these group of countries, all the countries that produce oil together, they created an organization called as OPEC. OPEC, you can call it as a cartel, and OPEC will determine how much oil will be produced by each of the member countries. So all these days, UAE was a part of OPEC. UAE was in OPEC, because of which UAE was reducing its oil production because of the rules and regulations that are imposed by all the neighboring countries. Now, a couple of days ago, UAE came out of OPEC, which means now UAE will start producing oil based on its own terminologies. So in such a scenario, see, today the problem is at the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz has been blocked and there is blockade for blockade nonsense is going on. UAE can start exporting its own oil and gas all the way from its oil fields to Fujairah port, and from this, without the dependency on Strait of Hormuz, UAE's oil and natural gas can come into the Indian Ocean. So if UAE is out of OPEC, of course it is out of OPEC. So now that UAE is out of OPEC, India's energy security will be increasing. Our energy will get a boost, and this is strategically important for us. So there can be a question on Fujairah port also. It is in news. It will continue to be in the news in the next 6 months, 7 months. So 2026, or for that matter, even if you are writing in 2027, if not SSC, probably in some UPSC exam, in some or the other exam, I am very, very confident there will be a question on Fujairah port. There is no doubt about this. Alright. So this is India's coastline border has been revised. Let me verify. Let us verify this before I proceed, so that if we are verified, we will update in the NCRT. Revised coastline border length of India. Let's see. Okay, they have revised it to 11,098 kilometers. Okay, 2025-2026 shipping ministry has increased it. Let's see. Reference to this. Length of the coastline has been 7,516 kilometers. Okay, after some discussions in this, there was certain review meeting held. Okay, there are problems, something nonsense was there. Okay, all right. So please note this. I made a mistake when I am talking about NCRT. India's coastline has been revised to 11,098 kilometers. Acha, we have updated in the slides yesterday, na? Okay. So 11,098 kilometers is the length of the coastline, and the state with the longest coastline is Gujarat. Union and territories point of view, Andaman Nicobar has the longest coastline, and second longest coastline, please update this also. We made this mistake yesterday. Tamil Nadu, the length of coastline is 1068. Andhra Pradesh, it is 1053. So, first longest coastline is Gujarat. Second longest coastline is Andhra Pradesh. Sorry, it is Tamil Nadu. Let me see. Okay. So Tamil Nadu is second longest coastline. This is second. This is the first. And this is first in island. First in island. Then what is the smallest in states? It is Goa. Goa has not changed. Okay, just make a small note out of this and correct your notes. Okay, please correct your notes on this particular aspect. Right. Now we will go back to the NCRT. Let me correct there also. I'll provide this copy. Let me write it there. I'll write it here. Coastline revised. First is Gujarat. Second is Tamil Nadu. Third is Andhra Pradesh. Okay, you can update the total lengths over here. I have written it on the notes. Acha, Pondi, you have noticed it? Okay. Yeah, please update your notes based on the latest numbers that I have shown you on the government document. In such scenarios, it is best to rely on government documents. Okay. So now we will continue our discussion. I spoke to you about Straits, ports and everything. So do you have a question on what I need to study from this particular chapter? This question, these two questions are important. Solve question number 1. Please solve question 1. Please solve question number 1. Okay. 8 degree 4 minutes. 8 degree 4 minutes to 35 degree 6 minutes. Question number 4. Please solve question number 4. right? Okay, 82.5 degrees. All right. Now the next chapter is Indian physiography. So in Indian physiography, yesterday we discussed as a chapter of structure and relief. Today I have to discuss a drainage systems. I'll mark structure and relief first. So in structure and relief part, the three major parts, three major structures that are there in India: Peninsular India covers Deccan Plateau, right? Then Chota Nagpur Plateau and Karnataka Plateau, Telangana Plateau. The extension is Shillong Plateau. All this fall under Peninsular block. Then we have Himalayas. Then we have Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra plain. These are the three broad and major physiographic divisions of India. Okay, so India has moved from Australia plate, from the Gondwana land, from Australia plate we got separated, and then we moved. We saw this map already. This you just give a single read so that you can understand the movement of Indian journey. By now we studied it well in advance. Now see, Peninsular block. The northern boundary of peninsular India, you can consider this as the flank of Aravalli range near Delhi Ridge. If you remember, this line was a PYQ. Do you remember this sentence? Yesterday there was one sentence on peninsular block where they said Aravalli ranges form the northern border of peninsular block. You remember the sentence of the question? Yes? No? Yes? So the boundaries, northern boundary of peninsular block is a line that is running from Kutch. So Kutch as in alright. So the northern boundary would be, it starts from Kutch and then it goes along the western flank of Aravalli range near Delhi and then roughly parallel to Yamuna and Ganga as far as Rajmahal Hills. So this goes something like this. This is the overall boundary line. We started with Kutch, then we have gone till Delhi Ridge, and then we have continued parallel to Yamuna and Ganga as far as Rajmahal Hills are there. And along with this, Karbi Anglong and Meghalaya Plateau are the extensions of this block. This is also a PYQ, yes or no? This is also a PYQ question which we have seen. Meghalaya Plateau, the examiner used the word Shillong Plateau for this. They used the word Shillong Plateau for this, and Shillong Plateau is an extension of this particular block. The northeastern part of India was separated by Malda Fault. Malda Fault separates it from the Chota Nagpur Plateau. So this particular small paragraph, from this single small paragraph, there are two PYQs that were asked in 2025, right? Next, the formation. Formation is about the materials. They can ask you what type of rocks are present. They are made up of gneiss and granite because this particular block has been created because of, after a lot of volcanic eruptions, etc., the block has been created. So this is made up of ancient gneiss and granite. This they can ask you. Then this has been a part of which plate? It is a part of Indo-Australian plate. This part talks about the creation of rift valleys of Narmada, Tapi, Mahanadi and Satpura block. See, what happens is, India as a large plate came out of Gondwana land and it was a part of Australia, Indo-Australia. The entire part was a single plate. From there India got separated again. So when India got separated out of Indo-Australia plate, it was at that particular period when you are breaking away the land, you see friction happening, and at that period we see the formation of Narmada Valley, Tapi Valley, Mahanadi. So the question that they can ask you in the exam is, Narmada Rift Valley has been created because of which of the following actions? First is convergence, second is divergence, third is transform. What kind of boundary is it? Narmada Tapi Rift Valley is what kind of boundary? Is it a convergent boundary, or it's a divergent boundary, or is it a transform boundary? That's how they're asking questions, right? Think well and tell me. The rift valleys have been created because of vertical movements, blocks and faultings, which means this is a transform boundary. This is a transform boundary, right? Now, There are certain relict and residual hills such as Aravali Hills, Nallamala Hills, Javadi Hills, Velikonda Hills, Palakonda Range and Mahendragiri Hills. Now all these hills are there in the notes. We have given you the names of the hills, the state they are in, are they in Eastern Ghats, are they in Western Ghats, if there is anything that is important about the hill. So as far as these hills are concerned, for hills you need to know, is a hill a part of Western Ghat or Eastern Ghat, which state is the hill present in, and if there is any national park or a river through which originates at that particular hill. So this is what is needed in this particular chapter, in this particular topic. Next is about the Himalayan mountains. Himalayas are young, weak, they are flexible geological structures. So Himalayas are the young fold mountains and Aravalis are the old fold mountains. There was a faulting, folding, thrusting, everything was there. All kinds of activities along with exogenic activities. And because they are very young, we see fast flowing rivers, gorges. Gorges are canyons, you know this already. Canyons, V-shaped valleys, rapids, waterfalls, all these things are created. Now in exam point of view, this particular block talks about the formation and geological history. They mostly will not ask you any kind of questions in this. One thing that is possible is geosynclinal depression. See, geosynclinal depression is pretty simple. Depression, this kind of a bowl-like structure is called as a geosynclinal depression. When all deposit sedimentation happens into this depression, and there is a compression, then a folding could happen, right? So this is called as geosynclinal depression. Give this part a read, a single read, give this a read and then you can skip. Then you have to come to physiography. In physiography, physiographic divisions are important. The northern division, these things. This is Pamirnot, Hindkush mountains and Kunlunsha mountains. K2 peak is important. They will ask you K2 peak is a part of which range, because it is the highest peak that is there within India and second largest peak also, right? So they will ask you K2 peak, then Ladakh range, Zaskar range, these ranges they will ask you. There will be good number of questions on these things. Then see Nanda Devi peak, Kamet peak. Here they will ask you state and range, which range they belong to, which state they belong to. These two things can be asked from this. Did you please share the textbook PDF? So after the class I will share it. Let me write everything, then I'll share it, right? Then you see Kanchenjunga, Everest is in Nepal, right? Then they can ask you questions on Kanchenjunga. Then Garo Khasi Jaintia, this is a part of Meghalaya Plateau. This is important. Next they can ask you the Great Indian Desert, which is Marusthali. By the way, this range is also can be considered as a part of or a radiation of Pamirnot itself. So this map is important. You need to know all hills, all peaks marked in the map. This map marks a lot of things. You need to know every single thing. Anaimudi, right? Then you have Dodabetta, Telangana Plateau, Nallamala Hills, right? Satmala Hills, Vindhya Range, Satpura Range, Narmada, Tapi, Ajanta Range, Mahadev Hills, Maikala Range, Baghelkhand, Chota Nagpur Plateau, Gharjat Hills. So all these things, there are fairly likely chances of asking questions. You need to know about these hills. This map is very, very important. Now, next part is about the north and northeastern mountains. When they're talking about north and northeastern mountains, we have great Himalayan ranges and then Shivaliks. This line they can ask you. Then it is about northern plains. It is about alluvial deposits that are there. Indus, Ganga, etc. They bring it. This part, Babbar, Therai, Bhangar, Khadar, this is important. This they can ask you. What is Babbar? Where is it found? Don't get confused if the statement says Babbar. The single sentence can be asked in the exam where they would say Babbar is a narrow belt ranging between 8 to 10 kilometers parallel to Simply they will write Trans-Himalaya range. Please be very careful. All these Babbar, Khadar, Bhangar, etc., they are found parallel to the foothills of Shivaliks, the bottommost portion. You don't find Babbar, Babbar, Terai, all these things at every stage of Himalayas. You will find them only at the foothills of Shivaliks only. We have the same timings here, right? Next is yes, there are certain important topics of history also, right? Babbar, Tarai, this part, and the wildlife vegetation. We have seen one question where they were combining the climatic conditions along with the physiographic features. So that part, this is important. So read this particular part completely. Then the next part is about Sadia to Dhubri, what types of crops that are there in this region. This is enough. Then the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau is an irregular triangle. Delhi Ridge in the northwest. This part, Delhi Ridge, is an extension of Aravallis. This can be a question. This line can be a question. Delhi Ridge is an extension of Aravallis, just the way they asked the Shillong Plateau is an extension of Chota Nagpur Plateau. Similarly, Delhi Ridge is an extension of Aravallis. This line itself can be a question because Aravallis is heavily in use, so there is a likely chance, and Supreme Court has stayed its own judgment now. So questions will not be asked on the judgment, but there can be questions on Aravallis physiography. So this line they can ask you. Then Rajmahal Hills, Cardamom Hills, this is a mapping part. Again, the extension in the form of Shillong Plateau. So now the word Shillong Plateau is also covered here. Hazaribagh Plateau, this is also there. Hazaribagh Plateau, Palamu Plateau, Ranchi, Malwa. You should know the locations of these things and the state in which they are present. This part is important, right? I think you missed climate types. The number of questions that are asked on climate types, soils and agriculture are very, very minimal. So I am not covering them in Astra series. Astra series I am picking up only important topics, right? Next, the Peninsular, this part, Peninsular Plateau has undergone multiple phases of upliftment. Bhima Fault, this they can ask you. Bhima Fault, they can ask you the location in the exam. This is important. Then the ravines of Chambal, this part, I will show you the image for this. Which river is known to form ravine-like structures? It is Chambal River. This line is important, they will ask you. Just a minute. Let me show you the Chambal ravines. These are dry land structures, dry eroded land structures where the soil quality has been completely lost. These kind of structures are called as ravines, and these ravines are created by a river named Chambal, and there are various other rivers also. The reason is very, very simple. It is because of erosion. And Chambal ravines are found in the states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So you get this kind of a completely rugged, rough topography. Everything has been eroded. Okay, so these are called as ravines, and basically this part is important. They can ask you this part in the exam as well. Chambal ravines they can ask you. Next, the Plateau part, Deccan Plateau, Central Highlands and Northeastern Plateau. Deccan Plateau is the part of southern part of India that is there. Central Highlands refers to the regions of Madhya Pradesh, etc. Northeastern Plateau refers to the entire northeastern region, especially the Shillong Plateau region. So Deccan Plateau, you have Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, and the ranges, Satpura, Maikal, Mahadev Hills in the north, Nilgiri, Karnataka, Annamalai Hills, Cardamom Hills. In this particular part, they can ask you a very simple question. Which of the following hills act as a border to Deccan Plateau? And they'll give you, let's say, Rajmahal Hills, then Mahadev Hills, Cardamom Hills, Annamalai Hills. They can give you 4 different things, and they can ask you 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only. These kind of questions they can ask you. Such questions can be framed here. Acha, sorry. All right. Yes. Right. So from this part, the hills that are there, they can simply ask you which of the following hills, I'll write the question also, which of the following hills act as boundary to Deccan Plateau. These kind of questions, they can form a multi-statement questions on this. Hills is very important. Hills part is extremely important. There can be questions on this. Now the next thing, see the Annaimudi Peak. Annaimudi Peak is very important. The highest peak of Peninsular Plateau. It is located in Annamalai Hills. This is important. Then the second highest is Dodabetta Peak. From this portion, from this part, there can be a question. Annaimudi Hills, Dodabetta Hills, Neelagiris. Dodabetta is a part of which thing? Neelagiris, etc. This particular section, there are two different questions that can be asked here, right? So Neelagiris, that is there. Then Eastern Ghats. Within Eastern Ghats, Javadi Hills, Palakonda Range, Nallamalai Hills, Mahendragiri Hills. All these hills are already marked in the map. You can look at this particular text and you can go back to the map. Questions can be asked on these hills. The hills part, they can ask you which range they are present. Is it a part of Eastern Ghats or Western Ghats? Second highest, first highest, and they can also ask you questions as to what are the hills that are found at the confluence of Western and Eastern Ghats, right? All these things are there. Then they can also ask you questions on, there is one more hill name that is missing here, that is Cheveroy Hills. And all these hills are known for coffee plantations. That can also be a simple question, right? Coffee plantations are there that they can ask you. Next is Central Highlands. Central Highlands, to the west of them you have Aravalli Range, and then there is Satpura Range that is there on the south. So Central Highlands, the western boundary is Aravallis and the southern boundary is Satpura Range. This can be asked in the exam, and this is about the Rajasthan Madhya Pradesh region. This we are talking about Rajasthan Madhya Pradesh region that we are looking at. Now you have discontinuous, highly denuded, old relict mountains in this entire region. This part, Barchans, this is important. The longitudinal sand ridges which are crescent shaped, these are called as Barchans. They can simply ask you, where will you find Barchans? From this point, there is a question that is possible. Where will you find Barchans? Let me show you that. Barchans basically are sand dunes. So this is how you find, these are the Barchans that I am talking about. So these, the dunes, this is a sand heap like structure that is there. A crescent shaped sand dune. Crescent shaped sand dune like structure that is present in the regions of Central Highlands. These are sand dunes, and they constantly move from one place to the other place. So 1 hour ago you see a sand dune here, after a while you might see a sand dune somewhere else. So these are called as Barchans, right? Yeah, so this is how they look like, and the sand dunes keep moving from one place to the other place constantly. Now we will go back, right? Next is general elevation and all, this is all fine. Kaimur Range, Banas is the only tributary, significant tributary of river Chambal that originates from Aravallis in the west. This line itself, there can be a question that can be asked from this one single line. This line is important, they can ask you a question from this line. Next is Northeastern Plateau. Northeastern Plateau is it is created because of the faulting between Rajmahal Hills and Meghalaya Plateau, and then the depression got created completely because of various rivers. So Meghalaya and Karbi Anglong Plateau are detached from the main peninsular block. Meghalaya Plateau has got 3 hills, Garo, Khasi, Jaintia Hills. So in the region of Meghalaya, if you take a look at the map of Meghalaya, so basically this is West Bengal, and on the shoulder part of West Bengal you have Meghalaya. This is Meghalaya, where you have Garo, Khasi, Jaintia. These 3 hills are there. Garo Hills, Garo, Khasi, Jayantia, this itself there can be a question on this particular part. This is about the Meghalaya Plateau. Next is this part. Meghalaya Plateau has resources like coal, iron, sillimanite, limestone, uranium. This can be a question. We might get trapped at uranium. We might not be, see, limestone, coal, all these things we will mark. But we might get stuck at uranium and sillimanite. These two are also there. And Meghalaya Plateau, you have Cherrapunji. Of course, this has been now modified. The place has been modified and revised. But yes, this is about Meghalaya. This line is this part. Meghalaya Plateau has got very less permanent vegetation cover. They are combining physiography with the climate and all. On Meghalaya Plateau, you see a lot of rainfall. In fact, the place Masindran in Meghalaya has the highest amount of rainfall that is there. Because there is so much amount of rainfall, the vegetation cover keeps disappearing. Doesn't mean there are no trees, no. Permanent vegetation is not there. Vegetation that could survive for years and years and years, that is minimal. There is a lot of greenery, that's a different thing. So this is about Meghalaya Plateau. Next is Indian desert. Again, Barchans, this is there, that is important. Rainfall below 150 mm per year. This was also a direct PYQ line in 2025 where they said in Indian desert we find a rainfall of, in the exam they said, instead of this they gave 250 mm. You remember that? Yesterday I have shown you this question where in Indian desert they gave rainfall annual average of 250 mm is given in the options. Yes, you remember this? Or do you want me to open the question? Yes, so the rainfall is 150 mm per year. Maybe the question bank might have the correct sentence itself, and luckily if you are lucky enough they would give you 150 mm per year in your exam paper in your shift also. So this line, this is there. Then Marusthali, this word is there. Yes, alright, so Marusthali part is there. Then the deposits that are there, this they can ask you about the deposits that are present, but beyond that this is good. So this is the Indian desert where we have Barchans, Marusthali, the shape and all, Barchans shape, all these things are important. Okay, the next is Run of Kutch region, the white beautiful desert that is there. River Luni flows in the southern part of the desert. This line, River Luni, which river flows through the Marusthali or Indian desert? It's River Luni, that they can ask you. Next is coastal plains. We have two different coastal plains, eastern coastal plains and western coastal plains. Western coast is a submerged coast. From this line there can be a question. Which coast of India is a submerged coast? West coast is a submerged coast. East coast is emerged coast. East coast is emerged coast, right? Then the questions on this line, yes, see, just a minute, I wanted to show you one more line. In this region, rivers do not form any delta, they form backwaters. This was a PYQ. Backwaters and lagoons. I still remember it was option D if I am not wrong. In that question that we have solved, it was option D. I could be wrong in this. It could be an extreme guess also. But again, the rivers in the coastal plains, the western coastal plains, they don't form any deltas. You have backwaters which are also known as kayals. So kayals, this could be a terminology based question. There can be a question on kayals. So kayals they can ask you. Then the ports that are there. See, as far as ports are concerned, there is a project called as Sagarmala project that is going on. Right, there is a Sagarmala project that is in the news. Let me show you the map that is related to it. We'll cover Sagarmala also here itself. It's an old program. Right. Oh, which map is good? Okay, we'll use this map. Looks like it's a good website. It looks like, so let's use it. All right. So the idea of Sagarmala is very simple. We want to develop a series or chains of ports. So we are talking about, sorry. Okay. So we are talking about Sagarmala. Sagarmala is about developing a chain of ports. Right? Recently you have developed Viringham port also in Kerala, which is India's only transshipment port. So the idea is to develop chains of ports so that we can increase our exports and all, and those ports can also act as a strategic advantage and strategic locations. So in the exam they can ask you which of the following are major ports and which of the following are minor ports. In this particular map, black marked are major ports: Chennai, Ennore, Tuticorin, Vizag, Paradweep, Haldia, Kolkata, Mumbai, Jala Nehru Portus, Kandla Port, then Marmugova, Cochin, all these are major ports. So in the exam there can be questions on ports. The topic of ports is very, very important. Please do remind me in the next 2 to 3 days. I'll post one small revision notes on ports in our Telegram channel. On the Telegram, I'll give you one revision notes on ports, a simple one pager, where I'll give you the most important ports, remarkable features about those ports, the most important lines that you have to remember. So this is about ports and Sagarmala projects. Now that we were talking about coastline, I thought let us complete the word of Sagarmala also. So Khandla port, Mazgam. So as far as ports are concerned, they can also ask you which of the following port is in West Coast. In ports, which port is in West Coast and which port is in East Coast. This they can ask you. They can also ask you arrange the following ports in the order of north to south on east side. The same thing they can ask you on west side. Then they can ask you which of the following is a major port, which of the following is a minor port, and if there is anything that is unique about the ports, they can ask you this also as a part of Sagarmala, right? Yeah, New Mangalore port, I missed it. Yes. So New Mangalore port. Okay. Then the boat race that is there, this they can ask you in culture part. So those who are from Kerala, you might know this already. There is one boat race that happens in the state of Kerala, which you call it as Nehru Boat Trophy. It happens in Kerala every year in Alappuza, Punnamada lakes, etc. So these are beautiful boats that are there, and people row these boats, and this is a racing that happens. So people do race all these boats. This they can ask you, right? They can ask you what, where, which state, etc. In art and culture, this can be a question, right? So this is all about harbors. Now you tell me which coast, west or east coast of India, which coast has natural harbor, more natural harbors? Which coast has natural harbors? Yes, west coast. Nice, very good. Then it is about island groups, right? In island groups, Saddle Peak is in North Andaman. Saddle Peak is in North Andaman. This is important. Saddle Peak is important. The rest, this box you can see. And Barren Island, the only active volcano in India. This is a possible question. Barren Island, the only island in India which is there, that is a possible question, because if I'm not wrong, very recently this island has erupted. Let me cross check before I state that claim. Recent eruption of Barren Island. Let me cross check it. Yes, it has erupted recently in 2022. In volcanic activities and all, 3 years, 4 years is definitely recent, okay? So they can also ask you when was the last eruption that is there. 2022, there was new phase of volcanic activity that has started, and if I'm not wrong, eruption also happened. Yes, even in 2025, yes. Very recently, as recent as in 2025, September, which means after the completion of your tier 1 itself. So, earthquake has triggered an eruption, Barren Island has erupted, so questions on Barren Island are possible. Now, we'll go back to the notes. Saddle Peak, Barren Island, I told you the question can be there. Then the questions on 10-degree channel. Questions on 10-degree channel, what 10-degree channel separates, 8-degree channel, this they can ask you. And also the two principal groups of islets, this part just give it a read. Okay, for that part you can give it a read. Islets are a group of islands, nothing more than that. Then and the islands of Arabian Sea includes Lakshadweep, Minicoy, this is important. 8-degree channel, this they can ask you. Minicoy is the largest island. This line they can ask you what is the largest island. Now 9-degree channel, south of it is Amini, sorry, north of it is Amini, south of it is Cananor. This is important. You will get questions from this part. 9-degree channel, what is to the north of 9-degree channel? 9-degree channel, what is to the north of it, what is to the south of it? This is very important. This part becomes important. And then the types of beaches that are there, just give it a read. So this completes the topic of physiography, right? See which channel separates, what is a hill range. So more or less these are the types of questions that they are asking. So you understood what you have to study in these two chapters. From the chapters of physiography and physical extent, you understood what to study. So now you tell me, you have two choices. We have two choices. First option is I will take up drainage and I will finish it. Now itself I will take up drainage and I will finish it now. The second choice is today I will pause the class. You will make a complete notes out of whatever I discussed. I'll post this marked PDF and you will make all the important fact sheets etc. that is needed. This chapter is completely fact sheet. So you have to pick up the most important lines, you'll prepare a fact sheet, you'll revise it, then we do drainage. What do? You want me to finish drainage today or what do you want me to do? Drainage is also factual. We have good maps for it and I'll tell you how to read the drainage chapter. So it is dependent upon your call. Please tell me. Finish it off, right? Let us finish drainage. So I'll finish drainage. After drainage, you take 1 day and you prepare the notes. Okay, finish, pause. Can I go for a poll on YouTube? Is it possible? Okay. Drainage. Nice. Please do this poll. This is the first poll that I've created on this channel. I don't know where to see. Okay, majority says yes. 60-40. Okay, let's finish drainage. It's at 60-40. Alright, I have ended the poll. I understood your feedback. Let us complete drainage part also. Okay, see basically what is drainage? It's simple. All rivers flow in the form of channels, right? Let's say there is a peak. A river starts here. River flows. A new river joins. One more river joins. River flows down. It meanders. And ultimately it travels. It forms a delta. And some other river might join here. This entire flow of water channel, you call this flow of water channel as a drainage. And there are various names to the shapes. For example, there could be a hill. And from this hill, multiple rivers can originate from the hill that has got one name shape. So the drainages have got different name shapes. First important shape is radial pattern. Radial pattern is simple. There is a hill like this. and from the hill multiple rivers start to originate. Okay, so basically there is a hill like this. This is how it looks. Let us take up some 3D kind of a thing. Let me satisfy that this is the 3D. All right, so from this particular thing multiple rivers starts to originate. For example, this is one river, and from this point there is one more river, one more river, one more river. So multiple rivers starts to originate from one single point, usually from the top of a hill. You call it as radial pattern. And from Amarkantak Plateau region, you have three rivers that start: Narmada, Son and Johila. This can be a question. And there is one more pattern where, for example, there is a river, let's say there is a river that is there, and all tributaries come and join the river at right angles. All the tributaries come and join the river at right angles, and there are certain distributaries also. If the river pattern is like this, right, in the exam if you see the keyword that is right angles, if there is a pattern like this, the pattern you call it as trellis pattern, right? Radial pattern, trellis pattern. Then there is one more pattern where this is a lake and there are various rivers that come and join this. See, radial pattern is at the starting point. If rivers completely come and join the lake, you call this pattern as centripetal pattern. Rivers come from all the directions, they join into a depression. You call this pattern as centripetal pattern. So these are various patterns in which you can have multiple rivers that continue to flow. So in today's class, what are we supposed to study? In today's class, we will understand how India's drainage system has evolved. What is the drainage system? Then we will take up major rivers, and I will tell you what to learn, how to learn, and I will show you the necessary maps, and I will give you the necessary notes. Okay, this is a fairly factual topic. There is a small part that is conceptual, which I will completely explain. Now the first word that you need to understand is the water divide. Water divide of India. There is a sentence that NCERT says water divide or watershed for that matter. Water divide, or you can also call it as watershed. See, watershed is basically, let's say this is, let us consider that this is a hill block. Okay, this is a hill block. Now there are two different riverine patterns that are there. First river flows like this and it continues to flow downwards, and there is one more river that is there. It starts here and it flows like this. It flows like this. Between these two, there could be some possible boundary hill type of a line that divides both the drainages. So watershed is the line. Water divide or watershed. In fact, watershed is a line or is the physiographic feature that divides the two different drainages. In India, we have one east flowing drainage system. We have one east flowing drainage system and we have one west flowing drainage system. West flowing drainage system is smaller, east flowing drainage system is larger. If you see, Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada, Tapi, very few rivers are west flowing rivers. They can ask you which of the following are west flowing rivers, right? So the watershed line that divides east and west flowing rivers, it starts at the Delhi Ridge, it flanks via Aravalis, and then it covers Vindhya range and Satpura range, and then it extends via Western Ghats. This is the watershed of Indian drainage. So this line which starts at the Delhi Ridge, which starts with the Delhi Ridge, flanks via Aravalis, and then covers Vindhya, Satpuras and Western Ghats. This line is considered as the watershed or the boundary line of India, right? And the river systems, the east flowing river systems, there are so many, right? You have Mahanadi, then you have Godavari, Krishna, Ganga, Kaveri, Tungabhadra, right? Sorry, Ganga is there, na? Yeah. Ganga, Yamuna, Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, Ghaggar, all these are east flowing rivers. So in the exam they will ask you which of the following are west flowing rivers. Now in this particular part also, see, Narmada, I have written it here already, Narmada, Tapi, Mahi, Luni, Sabarmati, all these are west flowing rivers. This is very, very important. And along with that, there are certain east flowing rivers also. All the east flowing rivers will go and join Bay of Bengal. West flowing rivers will come and join Arabian Sea. Everybody knows that. Now the next thing is, the overall drainage basin of India is divided into major basins, medium basins and minor basins. So in the exam they can ask you a question based on the catchment area. Now what is the meaning of catchment area? Catchment area is very simple. Let us consider that this is the drain, this is a system that is there. A river started here, a river has originated on a small peak here, it started to flow like this, it continued to flow and made a delta like this. Now this entire region through which river is flowing by, we call this as catchment area of the river. River along with its various tributaries, the entire region we call it as catchment area of the river. Now based on the catchment area of the river, we have major river basins. Major river basins obviously have more catchment area, 20,000 square kilometers of catchment area. Then you have medium, then you have minor catchment area basins also. Now the first thing is, how did this entire drainage system get created? See, the formation of overall drainage system is very interesting. Just a minute, let me come to the board. Now is the time for me to get back to the board. All right. All right. So the question is, how did this whole Himalayan riverine system get created? See, the theory is that originally, let us consider that this is India that we are talking about. Okay, this is a part of India that we are talking about. So the original thing is, in the entire northern region, right from the modern day regions of Pakistan till modern day regions of Assam, till modern day regions of Arunachal Pradesh, etc., there used to be a single river. That single river, it is called as Indo-Brahm river. The river is known as Indo-Brahm river. By then India was not created, by the way. India was not created. We are still talking about the plate tectonics days. So India plate was traveling, it is moving around, and at that particular point of time on the Eurasian plate region, there was one single river that was there. When India plate came and India plate stuck with, this is, let's say this is Eurasian region, where you have Indo-Brahm is one kind of river system that is there. Now when India plate came and it stuck with Eurasian plate, in this region, when there was a first upliftment that happened, one part of this river region rose above. So it was like this, a river was rising, India plate came and it stuck like this, and it gave this kind of elevation. After this elevation, the water that was there, the course changed, and this is when the first northern river system, that is Indus river system, got emerged. After a while, when this pivot happened, India went and it hit here, the pivot happened, then there was an upliftment of this land, and this upliftment led to the formation of Brahmaputra river. And the river system that was there in the middle Himalayas and lesser Himalayas, we now call this as Ganga Yamuna system. So this is how all these three river systems have been created. So this is the geological history of Himalayan drainage. The chances of asking questions on Himalayan drainage geological evolution is minimal, but it is there in the NCERT, so it's better we know this. This is the part that I'm talking about, the evolution of Himalayan drainage, Indo-Brahm river, Indus, Ganga regions. So first is Indus, then Ganga, ultimately it was Brahmaputra that was also there. So this was because of the upheaval that has happened. So this part they can ask you, but the chances of asking is still minimal. Now there is one river in Bihar which is known as river Kosi. Kosi river is very important. They can ask you good number of questions on Kosi river, because Kosi river, actually what happens is, Kosi river starts at a point where there is a lot of height. It starts from a height point, and the peak where river Kosi starts and the peak from which Kosi originates has a very steep slope. So Kosi naturally originates here, it falls down with a lot of energy, and it falls down with a lot of sediments. So river Kosi brings in a lot of sediments, it deposits all these sediments at a point, and after a while it will change its direction. this will change its direction. Earlier it was falling or flowing like this. It deposited all the sediments. Now it will change its direction again and it will flood this entire region. Over a period of time, it will deposit all the sediments here in this region and it will take a new course and cause a flood in this region. So river Kosi is considered as sorrow of Bihar. If anybody is there in the class from Bihar, you would absolutely know about it. So Kosi is considered as sorrow of Bihar because it constantly changes its direction, and every time it changes the direction, it brings a lot of flood, lot of sedimentation. All this happens and it affects people's regular lives a lot. So this Kosi river, which river meanders so much, this part there can be a question on this. This is important. Now we will take a look at the drainage system. So before I mark the notes of drainage system, I want you to understand how to study drainage system in the first place. How do you study drainage system? See, when we are studying about rivers, we know that every river has got three phases: youth phase, mature phase and adult phase. In the topic of rivers, by the way, in the topic of drainage and in the topic of rivers, they can ask you questions based on, for example, for a particular river, they can ask you questions based on origin point, right? Then they can also ask you questions on valleys, then hydro projects, then there can be questions on left bank or right bank tributaries, left bank, right bank tributaries. Then they can also ask you questions on confluence. Confluence is where river 1 and river 2 joins, right? What Allahabad is a confluence of what rivers, by the way? Allahabad is confluence of Allahabad is on the confluence of what things? Arey, okay. क्या हो गया? Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. Yes. Okay, Allahabad is, or Prayagraj is a confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers. Okay, so confluences they will ask you. Confluence is where 2 or 3 rivers meet. You can also call this as Sangam, right? Then they will ask you cities on river bank. And if the examiner wants to make the question a bit difficult, they can also ask you questions on national park drained by the river. There are questions that were asked in 2025 itself. In environment, in national parks, there are questions. So these are various questions that they are going to ask you from the topic of rivers. So to help you understand the same thing, for every river, we have created these maps, okay? So for example, if this river, this is river Mahanadi. Mahanadi river starts at Sihawa hills in the state of Chhattisgarh. Mahanadi river flows via Chhattisgarh and Orissa. The youth stage of Mahanadi river starts at Sihawa hills. It is where it starts, and then it travels upwards. It starts in Chhattisgarh and it starts in Chhattisgarh, travels upwards. It goes towards Raipur, and there at a place called as Shivanarayan, it is joined by one more river called as Sionath river. So from this they can ask you, from this one part they can ask you, where did this start, in which ghats, then what is the part where or what river came and joined, and it continues to travel, it continues its youth stage, and on youth stage there is a reservoir that is built which is known as Hirakud reservoir. So when you are learning a river, visualize it and then learn it in stages. What is there in the youth stage? Don't mug up. For rivers we have a pattern, we have a framework. We know that there is youth stage, there is mature stage and old stage. Now when I talk about Mahanadi river, you should be able to visualize Sihawa hills and it starts at Sihava Hills and it travels upward towards Chhattisgarh, towards Raipur, and from there it continues, and a dam, that is Hirakud Dam, is constructed on the youth phase. And after this, the mature stage begins, where the river starts to meander. And in this youth stage itself, Hasadev Mand river comes and joins. All these are a part of Eastern Ghats. Now, in the youth phase of this river, you have Sitanadi Wildlife Sanctuary, Barwanpara Wildlife Sanctuary, then you have Debrigad Wildlife Sanctuary. So, with respect to Mahanadi River, in youth stage, Sihava Hills, and then towards Raipur, then towards Yonad River and Shivanarayan. Now, when you are reading this topic of rivers, in the initial stages, I would suggest to do one small exercise. You open maps, you open Google Maps on your phone, anywhere you can open. Locations and all are already given to you. Now you see, for example, let's say Sihava Hills. Sihava Hills of Chhattisgarh. Zoom, of course, you have to zoom in out. This you have to do a lot. And then you have to pick up the terrain map rather. Just a minute. Okay, you have to pick up, yes, you have to pick up this terrain. Now, you start tracing the river. So this is where Sihava Hills start. This is Mahanadi River. See the journey of Mahanadi River. Mahanadi starts here. It travels. It continues traveling like this. It travels towards Raipur plains, right? Then at this particular place, Mahanadi River continues to travel like this. So you start with the river and you trace the overall journey of the river. You try to understand and you try to trace the journey of the river, and you see to what direction the river is traveling, and to help you trace that journey, we have given clear maps in this. So it starts here, there are plains, rivers are joined, then it continues, and in the mature stage, you have more amount of deposition. So you see more amount of national parks, etc. in the mature and old phase. Bhittarkanika National Park, this is important. There were PYQs asked in 2025 on this also, right? So Mahanadi, these rivers continue to join. Then you have national parks. It continues. Then you have Cuttack over here. And at the same time, when you are studying this, within Odisha, there is one more river called as Brahmani River, which is actually created by joining of two different rivers, that is Sank and South Koil. Sank and South Koil join at Rourkela, and it continues. This is how Brahmani River is created. So this is how you study rivers. You understood? Now did you understand the purpose of maps? Ganga system, let me connect the notes. Peninsula drainage, rivers of peninsular India. Where is Mahanadi? I've picked up easier now. Okay. Yes. Now I'll take one more example. Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra. Yes. You can take the example of Godavari river system. Godavari is the largest river of peninsular India. You have two rivers basically, peninsular rivers and Himalayan river system or perennial system. In perennial rivers, you have continuous flow of water. In peninsular system, you don't have continuous flow of water. It is dependent upon rainfall. Now, Ganga river, I'm really sorry, Godavari. Godavari starts in Maharashtra, Triambakeshwar in Brahmagiri Hills. So once it starts in Maharashtra, it runs through the states of Maharashtra, then it flows into Madhya Pradesh, then it goes into Chhattisgarh, then it goes into Odisha, and then into Andhra Pradesh. It just continues to happen. So this is the overall flow of the rivers, and these are various rivers that come and join. So what you need to do is take this map and then open NCERT. Open NCERT. When you open NCERT, just a minute, you have notes in the NCERT. See, this is the notes. Godavari, also known as Dakshin Ganga, it starts at Nashik of Maharashtra and discharges water into Bay of Bengal. So this is the starting point, Triambakeshwar. Then it runs through the states of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. This part is there. Then majority of this, that is around 49% of this is in Maharashtra. Then you can go back to the map and you can see it. See, then The Penganga, Indravati, Pranahita, Manjira are the major or principal tributaries. This part is there. Then it splits at Rajahmundry and forms a large delta. You go back, you see this particular theory part, come to the map, and you can verify, you can read from the map. So in this, on this Godavari river, there is Sriram Sagar project, Kaleshwaram Dam, Kinnarsani project. So multiple projects are there, and this is how you compare the map and the theory, and this is how you have to prepare. So in reverse topic, the source is NCERT. I'll mark the lines, not a problem. I'll mark it. The source is NCERT, but these are the topics that you need to know. Origins, valleys, hydro projects, left bank, right bank, confluences. And Ganga is one very complex and large system. There are multiple glaciers, Yamunotri Glacier, Gangotri Glacier, Satopant Glacier. From Yamunotri Glacier, you have Yamuna that starts. Yamuna continues till Prayagraj, that is Allahabad, and Yamuna will join Ganga. Now Ganga is again, it's not a single river. It is a confluence of Bhagirathi and Alaknanda, right? It is a confluence of Bhagirathi and Alaknanda. There are multiple Prayags, Vishnu Prayag, Nand Prayag, Karna Prayag, Rudra Prayag. These Prayags are important because at each Prayag, you have one river that comes and joins, right? Nandakini river joins, then you have Pindar that joins. So multiple rivers come and join Ganga. These are important. So from this particular branch till here, that is the antecedental portion, the portion where Ganga has not yet been formed. In this part, the Prayags match the following. This they can ask you. And once Ganga begins, you have multiple tributaries that come and join. You have Gomti, Ghaggar, Sarda, Gandak, Bhuri Gandak, Koshi, Mahananda, all these are there. All these rivers, they come and join. So here they will ask you what are left bank tributaries, what are right bank tributaries. And the content will be available in your NCERT itself. You use map as a reference, and then you go back, you come to the NCERT part. Let me take you to Ganga river system, because Ganga, yes. Once you open NCERT, Ganga raises this line. Sun is the major right bank tributary. Ram Ganga, Gomti, Ghaggar, Gandak, Kosi, Mahananda, these are right bank tributaries. This is where they can ask a question, right? It joins Bay of Bengal near Sagar Island. This can also be questioned. Yamuna is the longest tributary of Ganga. Starts at Yamunotri Glacier in Bandir Panch range. This is there. Then at Allahabad it joins Ganga. This line there can be a question. Then for Yamuna you have Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, Kain that come and join. This they can ask you. Chambal ravines, I spoke to you. Chambal ravines and badland topography. This they can ask you. Then you have Gandak, Kali Gandak, Trishul Ganga. This they can ask you. Ghaggar they can ask you. So Ganga river system is important. All you need to do is take NCERT and match it with the map, and you have to prepare a factual notes for these particular topics. See, Sorrow of Bengal. Earlier I spoke about Sorrow of Bihar. Now river Damodar is known as Sorrow of Bengal. This can also be a question. So this is how you prepare the river systems. River systems, this NCERT is important. All you need to do is very, very simple. Let me tell you again, from this content, all you can do is, or all you need to do is, prepare a table like this. Prepare a table like this, visualize with the help of maps, spend time on the map, and you prepare this table. Your drainage system part is sorted. Alright? So this is how you handle your drainage systems, and this is the end of World Geography and Indian Geography for 2026 in SSC point of view based on 2025 PYQs. The highest weightage topics are solar systems, landforms. Solar systems are factual, landforms are conceptual, then Indian physiography, India location extent, and Indian physical features, Indian drainage. These topics are extremely important. Then there is only one topic from which there are decent good number of questions, that is atmosphere. And in atmosphere we will talk about greenhouse effect, then the earth heat budget, then how temperature varies in the atmosphere, composition of the atmosphere. It's a simple and easy topic. Once that also we will do it from NCERT, and once it is completed, your important topics of geography, you can say that you have completed them and you revise them, you will handle the questions. And for all the other topics, slowly and steadily before the exam, we will give you one ready revision notes. We will prepare a ready revision notes from those topics that I have not taught you. I'll give you a revision notes, use it, your geography is completely sorted. Right? So this is all for today. Thank you so much. This notes will be posted. Thank you. Thanks everybody. Please file RTA for SSC CHSL 2027 Hyderabad zone vacancies. As mostly speculation. It's not speculation. There is a downgradation of GST inspector post in Hyderabad Commissionerate. So in 2026, you will not have any GST inspector positions in Hyderabad Commissionerate. The posts have been downgraded. I have confirmed it with someone who is working in Hyderabad zone as GST inspector. The posts have been downgraded temporarily. So you will see the fulfillment of the post only at the position of executive assistant in Hyderabad, Vadodara, Bangalore, and if I am not wrong, in Chennai zone. These three zones I am sure. No, there is no criteria for it. Alright. We will talk about it when I am discussing environment current affairs. There I will tell you what is a protected area network. Basically, it depends upon to what extent you can go into the forest and do activities. Income tax inspector is there. See, those who are preparing for or those who want to get into Hyderabad zone, income tax inspector is still there. You have your level 7 post, but GST inspector has been downgraded. So to get a home posting in Hyderabad zone, your competition has now increased further. Anandu says, I have joined in BrahMos, completed it. Today you'll get one class on parliament. Tomorrow you'll get one, I mean if not wrong, last night one class was posted. Today you'll get one more class. In BrahMos, I'm continuing my GS section. For the last 10 days I was busy with some personal event because of which I could not take classes. Your classes will continue. Today we will complete parliament, tomorrow state legislature, then center state interstate relations. We will proceed towards judiciary. The GS part of BrahMos will continue as usual. Home post permanent. Yeah, all these postings are permanent. Now your transfers are restricted within the commissionerate. You don't get interstate transfers and all. CBI downgraded, I did not check it out. I did not check the notice on CBI downgradation, but I've seen executive assistant downgraded to tax assistant, GST inspector to executive assistant, then certain posts of Havaldar being downgraded, yes. Yes, the GS is same for BrahMos and GS batch. Art and culture. In art and culture, I'll teach Buddhist architecture, temple architecture, cave architecture, one class on Ashokan pillars, one class on Mughal tombs and all. That's it. This is what I'll cover in architecture. Then I'll take one class on classical music, one class on classical dances. This part I'll cover in Astra. And in history, I'll take one class on charter acts, then one class on acts introduced after 1857, one class on viceroys, one class on governor generals, and one class on the administrative policies. So around 7 to 8 sessions I will take up, where I'll pick up the most important themes and I'll discuss those themes. Anandu, our course does not include economics or geography. I will teach economics and geography in detail in BrahMos. Here in Astra series, I have taken up around 8 to 10 classes of geography. In GS 1.0, I need at least 10 to 15 classes to complete geomorphology itself. Geography is very vast. There is geomorphology, then there is climatology, then there is oceanography, then there is biogeography. All these are a part and parcel of geography. So in biogeography, we will talk about the soils, cropping patterns, etc. There is a lot yet that I have to cover. In your course, currently I am doing polity. Once polity is completed, I will pick up geography. Then we will proceed towards economics and the course will be comprehensively covered. Here, because there is a delay that happened in the course, I am picking up the important questions, important topics so that you can handle around 13 to 15 questions from these sessions in tier 1. Yes, we will post the notes of the ports. If I forget, please remind us on Telegram, on WhatsApp number. We'll do it. What posts are possible in Vizag? For Vizag Commissionerate, you have preventive officer, then you also have examiner. These are the two that are possible in Vizag Commissionerate. In Hyderabad Commissionerate, there is no concept of preventive officer. Right? And CA quiz. See, we are changing Siddhi's application. The new application will be provided to you. We will intimate you in the next 4-5 days at maximum. We will intimate you, and once the new application is ready, all these quizzes will resume. We are not doing it now because it will be a double work. The current application, the current app has a different format for questions. The new one will have a different format for questions. So it will just increase our work. So we stopped adding all those questions and all, so that we can do it in the new one. Kerala, you have all these three here. You have GST, you have preventive, and you have income tax inspector. There is no downgradation in Kerala. In Kochi and all, there is no downgradation. Alright. So yeah, this is all for today. Thank you so much. See you all in the next class.